We're going to have a quick chat with the panel now. I'm just going to pass a few questions down the line because obviously we have had, in the last few days, some changes into the political landscape. I'm just interested in teasing out a few of those themes. So, I guess a question we'll go for Chris actually. How have you found the government's support, Chris, for manufacturers in a post-Britain beam? Are they giving manufacturers like you confidence of the national direction to both Britain and for others, say their European partners to back Britain?
No. Obviously, I'll elaborate on that slightly. No, I mean, the last 3.5 years have been a disaster for UK manufacturing in our sector. What we need to look at is, I mean, the industrial strategy, those 10 pillars where they talked about skills, automation, productivity, that's what we need as a sector going forward. We need to get back to those industrial strategies. I helped feed in with the local council, I helped feed in, Made in the Midlands had some discussions around industrial strategy. We all had our ideas put forward, and if they'd have put their money where their mouth is and put their time where their mouth is, we could have been in a lot better position. The last 3.5 years people have had indecision, there's orders not being placed. We need to get a lot better at what we're doing. We are still competing on a world marketplace, and our productivity, because of the lack of automation, as John said, is behind where it needs to be. We are going to be now competing on the world stage when we come out of Europe. We need to get a lot slicker and a lot smarter at what we do, but the companies in this room, and certainly the companies that I'm working with, are willing to embrace and willing to change, and have actually been making those changes in the background, but it just hasn't been promoted in the social media side of it and the main media. There's lots of great work being done, and that's why I would urge everyone in the room to make sure that the Made-in group are hearing what stories you've got, what productivity gains, what automation, what are you doing that makes your business better than other businesses? Because it's only by shouting about those good news stories that we actually promote the sector and get anything done in Westminster.
Thank you. Same question to Claire, really. Yeah. Claire, how do you feel government have supported the sector so far?
I think that the lack of support has been in all sectors. I think our sector is quite strong in sticking together, like groups with Made in the Midlands. I think we've just tried to question and support a very fragmented 3 years. And the government haven't really played a part in our industry at all. We've sort of just tried to be a little bit above them and try to carry on and move on positively with the job in hand. They set up a couple of websites to help us, I suppose, and send out a few letters now and again. And I think that's as much as we're really getting. But like I say, when you've got a small business, sometimes you do feel quite lonely and on your own. And groups like Made in the Midlands and other people you can talk to and question what's going on and have a different opinion from somebody else really helps.
Can I just pick up on that?
Yeah.
So that's a good point that Claire makes. This really is a peer group. Even though it's a membership group, it is a peer group where you can access managing directors, purchase people, other people in your sector who have the same issues. I mean, James and I spend a lot of time talking now about the pressures of a business owner, the pressures on our business. I am committed to bringing sales in, but if there's no work out there, it's really hard. And also that personal pressure of running a business. This allows you to speak to other people and actually gain some knowledge, but also everyone's in the same boat, and it's quite nice just to share those news stories sometimes as well.
Superb. And James, we're looking at a general election on the 12th of December, the look of it, possibly impacting a further delay to Brexit beyond even January the 31st. So, do you think this is going to be an increasingly hard sales pitch beyond that? Is it going to be a difficult situation? And if so, what can we do to restore trust in our economy?
Yeah, I think it is going to be. As I say, obviously, Chris said, I am an avid networker. I'm out there all the time, so I go to a lot of factories. I speak to a lot of people. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, the more time drags on, the more until we get this uncertainty out of the way, it is going to get harder and harder. I mean, I suppose it stems back to this, why I think networking is so important really. I think it's the people who are like-minded and go to these networking events to get out there, to build the relationships, will do the business. I mean, if you look at it really, in business, we've been going for a long time now, you're always going to get threats, you're going to get recessions, you're going to get whatever. There's always going to be some type of threat to business. And it's almost like you have to take these opportunities. I mean, we're looking at the moment, okay, we've obviously got this uncertainty going at the moment. We're actually investing at the moment. I take it as a chance to invest. Because if you think about it, obviously, we're about to put in a new machine. We're doing it now because we're taking it as an opportunity because we can negotiate with the supplier and get an even better price. So, yeah, I'm just trying to think we've lost thoughts now, but I just think, yeah, so going back to me, what's getting my business through this period of uncertainty is the networking for sure. As I said, the website, we've had the website for 20 years now. We continue to invest in that. We put a lot of money into the SEO and all that. It's ticking over, but it is slow now for sure. But we are bucking the trend simply because of all the networking and working with great people out there and just exchanging great ideas really. So that's the way I'd like to do it. Take the opportunity.
So,
I think we started off quite rightly saying, and many of you are new to us, about how we have a propensity to denigrate ourselves. And there's no doubt in the United Kingdom for a period of time, through language and pejorative analysis, manufacturing has not perceived as being important. I'm going to take on board what Chris says about government intervention and its effectiveness. One of the reasons why you can make your voice heard is because of what Chris is saying. If we collate the inadequacy of whatever political parties, government policies to help us, then we ought to be objectively critical. The one point I would like us all to leave with in our heads, however, since 2010, after the financial collapse, manufacturing for not 3 years, you have to be ever so careful, but each consecutive month grew. It's only in the last 2 or 3 months that in fact the marketing indice of procurement for manufacturing has been below 50. Anything below 50 is contraction. It's about 48.7. It went down to 47 about 3 months ago. So I don't want you leaving thinking that the last 36 months has actually denuded manufacturing. That would be the wrong message. In fact, on the contrary, it has grown. And, as has just been mentioned, actually British assets are undervalued because of the uncertainty of Brexit, and the time to invest actually is now. Nearly every member I've met is actually investing because they're confident of managing. There is no halcyon period in history. You have a cyclical, doesn't matter which government's in, economic graph is cyclical. There are troughs and there are peaks, troughs and peaks. The real people are the ones that manage the troughs in the way you look at the challenge and turn it into an opportunity. That's what management. So my overlay to the board is that manufacturing has grown consecutively for 26 months. Clearly, the general election, I sincerely hope, I started by saying impasse and vacillation. I'm totally on board with Chris there. The vacillation that's gone on within government is actually not served us well. It is now beginning to impinge on some of the investment. But I just sincerely hope, whatever your views are, whatever your political alliances may be, the general election I hope on December the 12th, and I was down there doing my bit voting for that general election yesterday, I hope will clear the air. We do need to have some certainty. And I actually think then you're going to see an unleashing of investment and energy, but we need to get this uncertainty out of the way. Manufacturing nevertheless has grown 26 months consecutively, and it is still growing. Well, it's not growing at the moment, but it has been for the last 2.5 years.
Can I just add something? I just read, just going on that, in the manufacturer this morning, when I was looking for ideas or inspiration. It's quite an interesting fact. Manufacturing contributes 6.7 trillion to global economy, with the UK currently at the 8th largest industrial nation. The 8th largest industrial nation. Its current trends, if they continue, will break the top 5 by 2021. So that's quite encouraging.
I agree. And also, our exports since 2010, year on year, they've been going up. We sell ourselves short. We're the 5th largest economy. We might have to realign where our markets are. Anybody that actually thinks that leaving the European Union is about being a little England have lost the plot. The globe is the market, the world is your oyster, and you optimise it. We're not going to be anti-German or anti-French. I've just invested heavily in a small engineering company, and our largest customer is Germany. 92% of our content is British, and 88% of our sales, and we only started 2 years ago, this is one of the companies, are growth, and we're growing in the European Union. Britain is a trading nation. It has very little mineral resource. It relies on the intellect of its population and its ability then to be relevant to a global market. 36% of our GDP is through trade. We're a trading nation, we'll always be a trading nation, and there are partners out there that want to trade with us. And the made in, what are the made in do? The cachet for made in Britain is still highly regarded. You play on that, you play on the quality, you play on reliability, you play on a legal system, and then obviously you have a product range. So let's be right, let's take on board what Chris says. If the government doesn't listen, then we advocate through the Made in Group, but equally, let's understand we have formidable opportunity, we truly do.
Can I just add something to that? I'm an independent guy, I'm not in the association yet. But for 25 years, I'm John Ruff, sales director of an Indian-based company, believe it or not, who I've invested in the UK. But I've been in engineering for 25 years, selling 99% of my products to a global scale. How many times do you guys get together as an organisation to look at projects where you can collaborate as organisations on a global scale? Because as a collaborative organisation, you offer a powerful set of manufacturing facilities, intelligence, capabilities to supply to bigger project base. And I say that because I've worked on projects like the Hadron Collider and CERN, where I brought UK organisations together to compete for those types of projects. And those projects were worth billions of pounds. So as contributions to you all, you would get something out of it. Do you do that as an organisation?
Yes, we do. We certainly collaborate between the group, but we also look at bigger projects with the Made in Group and Lord Whitby's feed directly into Westminster. So we have a lot of pull and a lot of sway, and it's all about promoting the members, but also looking at the opportunities out there. So we are looking at global. We've got all the OEMs with connections to us in the UK, but you will always find a member who has got an interest in an inquiry or working with somebody. And the fact you've got nearly 500 members now who all have a customer base, which is probably different from your customer base, it gives you a fantastic opportunity to pitch into those as well. So it's really a way of extending your sales team and your reach within the market.
We've all talked about Brexit enough today, probably, so without mentioning this further, if John, if you were put in charge tomorrow as the manufacturing czar,
I think it should be.
I'll take that on.
what would you do to push this back into export Britain?
What would I do? I think based on my presentation, my first target is to try and achieve what the Singaporeans have done.
Yeah.
So get off that second slide and move onto the first one. I think one of the most important things is the government talk the talk, and they tell you how great manufacturing is and what a great thing we're doing here, but in reality there's no actions behind it until recently. And recently I was quite impressed with what came out of Parliament. There was a report put together that took somewhere in the region of about 18 months to put together. and it's quite enlightening. And I would suggest to any of you guys who've not read it or are interested in automation and what the government have actually put together, is to come onto our website and follow the link to a specific report that we have on there. But I'll just give you a nutshell to what it's about. They're actually taking a real interest based on all the information that comes from the IFR, which is the International Federation of Robotics, and where we actually stand, which is 22nd globally with regards to the interests of automation. So on the back of that, if you look at that particular report, they concentrate, and a delegation went to Japan, sat down with automation companies out there. You wouldn't be surprised that a lot of the robots come from Japan, great manufacturers. But what they've done over there is they've actually used the government to work very, very closely with companies and how to adapt and grow the automation. And this is key because, again, Japan, a very small nation, but they have a massive population of robots. They're very, very successful. Their economy keeps on growing. And I think this is where it has to start. You know, I could be the czar of anything, but if you haven't got people who make decisions behind you, promoting you, you're not going to get anywhere. So I think the fact that a document that's taken 18 months to come out of the government is a real positive start. And I think that document alone is something that I would work on. I would want to get more involved with it to understand how we can assist. Like I said earlier, I have an awful lot of years of automation experience, not only just working in the UK, but both in Europe and in Japan. And on the basis of that, I think we can bring an awful lot of capabilities over here. And as Chris was saying, you know, as part of Made in the Midlands, the networking capability, you know, what we can offer as a part of a group is enormous. You know, and at the end of the day, you only have to start small. You start small and you grow. And I think that, you know, if we have a target, you know, from hopefully before January, just after January, we finish this uncertainty, our opportunities of growing is massive. And I think that is the one positive thread that I hold. You know, we've had a terrible year this year. As an OEM creating special purpose equipment, it's slow. The orders are just delayed because of uncertainty. So on the back of that, we know that uncertainty will stop. We believe in automation. And like I say, I would target to get off that second slide and get onto the first slide, move from 22nd to 21st with another target to be a real automation provider in this country and increase our productivity. At the end of the day, profit makes the government smile. I'm not sure about Corbyn though. Bit of politics in there, sorry. Okay, thank you very much.
Can I just finish with one final point? There's been a lot of talk today about backing Britain. There's been some great stories here. One thing that I do through my social media and all the contacts that I've got, we need to pitch positivity around our sector. So the Made Group would love to hear any of your stories, things that are going well, things of investment, things of recruiting, employing, upskilling. We need to really push positivity within our sector. We need to back Britain. We need to make 2020 a great year. If anything, Brexit might even go past January. It might end up as the 29th of March. That would be 12 months delayed, and also it'd be my 50th birthday. So on that note, thank you very much.